What's going on, everybody? It is April 24th, 2018. I hope you're all having an awesome day. Yesterday, we talked about pretty much what's going on with me and my projects, just some updates on what I've been doing. I got an EP coming out next month. I have an album that I'm also working on right now, so I'm still getting that together. And I have been working on a few rap projects with some really talented local artists here in Connecticut. So, what we're going to talk about today is ways to improve your vocals. Whether you're a rapper, whether you're a singer, a voice actor, it doesn't really matter. But if you're using your vocals, this is, I would say, one of the most essential points of improving it. It's your breath control. You're always going to hear me say it, and I'm going to keep saying it. Singing, rapping, whatever it is 90% confidence, 10% technique. And that technique majority of it is breath control. All right, so let's talk about breath control, and I'm going to go over a few different pointers on how to develop better breath control practice when you're getting ready to record or perform. So essentially, breath control is the foundation of playing your instrument. Now, the vocals is an internal instrument, all right? So first off, let's understand a little bit what's going on. Now, our vocal cords, when I'm talking right now, my chest voice, what's happening is my vocal cords are vibrating at its full length. So that's producing a lower tone, a lower frequency, all right? Essentially, it's the same thing on a piano. If you look at the left side of the piano, the strings are longer, and that's because it's the lower note, so it takes longer for the note to vibrate. That will produce a lower frequency response. Opposed to if I'm talking in my head voice, which would be more like, hey, what's going on, everybody? This is more my head voice up here, right? It's like the voice you use if you haven't seen a friend in a long time. Like, hey, what's going on? This up here is more of my head voice. It's the same thing. What's happening is my vocal cords are zipping up 2/3 of the way, and that's producing it has to vibrate at a shorter length, and because it's vibrating at a shorter length, it's producing a higher pitch. And then you could go into falsetto, and that's even zipping up further, and it's producing even shorter sound. Now the sound's being produced from your soft palate, or it's being produced from your larynx, and it's amplifying. That's the word I'm looking for. Amplifying through your soft palate, your hard palate, your sinus cavities, your larynx, and so all that's happening before you even make a sound, whether you're making words or just holding a note, whatever it is. So, with that in mind, let's go back to breath control and how that ties into that. Now, to get a steady frequency, you would need a steady breath. So it vibrates, and that's how you hold a note. Whether you're rapping in key, or you're singing in key, it doesn't matter. And even when you're just talking, it's still, in one way or another, it should sound, if you have any energy to you, it should sound like it's more melodic in a sense compared to someone that has no energy and it's really dull, let's talk like this, really monotone. It's just kind of flatline, So that's the same thing. Now, a cool tip is when you're writing, whether it's a rap, whether you're reading a script, or even if you're singing, write with breath control in mind. That way you never run out of breath when you're writing. And you can start using the way you breathe to accent the rhythm of the song. Kendrick Lamar is awesome at that. A lot of great artists, but he's the first one that came up to mind. So that's a good thing to try, whether it's you're breathing some point before you start the line, or you're breathing some point in the middle, because it's like the way you're breathing with the way the drum rhythm is working, or the music section's working. It's all up to you. But that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to do is you want to be taking a deep breath. You want to be taking a breath from down here. You don't want to take something shallow like, see, that's just filling up right here. That's not going to produce a full rich sound. What you want to do is take a deeper breath from more and use more of your diaphragm. So a good practice is to flex your abs or flex your belly, if you're fat as fuck. Just kidding. If flex that gunt, whatever it is, flex. You want to use this area to kind of control that breath of air and make it just seem more steady, more of a robust sound. Not something that sounds thin or doesn't sound like you have confidence in what you're doing. If you have good breath control, then the confidence part will definitely it will leak over into that. It will definitely help enhance your confidence because you have a foundation in your breath. So you want to be taking deep breaths, using your lungs, the lower part of your lungs, as well as using your diaphragm to produce a steady sound. You want to be confident when you take breaths. I find out when I talk to a lot of artists that they don't want to breathe too loud because they don't want the mic to pick it up, and that actually is kind of affecting your whole performance even, because now you're kind of being insecure about that when you shouldn't even give any two shits about that. You should just sing the song, be confident in your breathing, because one, it's human, we all breathe, duh. And then two, if it sounds weird, the engineer can always chop out the breath and mute it, so it's not even in the song, it's no big deal. But you're actually hurting your performance when you're being too conscious of your breaths and the fact of is it too loud, is the microphone picking it up, I don't want the microphone to pick it up. That's going to affect your performance. So take confident breaths. A cool song that I noticed that was a really cool breathing idea was, what's it called? I think it's called Same Old Song by The Weeknd. In the chorus part, when he's like, the same old song, he holds out the note or whatever. At the end of the line, in that small gap of space for him to breathe, he takes a really strong breath. And then he does it again. One, because it makes him sound really confident. It adds character to it. It's style. It's all those things. And it definitely just brings out the vibe of the song more. So that's something to definitely be conscious of. Another idea too is that if you want to kind of develop your breath control skills or your technique, a good practice is imagining that there's a beach ball in your belly, right? And as you're taking that deep breath, you want to imagine that you're filling up that beach ball. All right, so that way you have a full tank to sing or perform with. It's the same thing, kind of like the accordion player. He has to, as he pulls out, he gets all this air inside, and then he kind of steady plays. He doesn't force it all out. He just kind of steady plays. That's the same way you want to be singing, screaming if you do metal, rapping, whatever it is. That is the same idea. You don't want to use your full tank just to get one line. You want to conserve it. You want to be able to perform a whole line on one breath if you have to. You want to be able to perform a whole 4 bars on one breath if you really need to, if you're a fast rapper or something. It's like a cool idea is imagining that as you're singing, there's a jet stream of air leaving your mouth, right? So you want to imagine it's like a solid straight line. It's not all, and the only time it's bending is when you're doing vibrato or something, but you kind of want to imagine that. That way you're producing, again, a full confident sound. It doesn't sound like it's all messed up, unless you're trying to sell that type of character for the song. The guy from Gorillaz, he has a cool tone where it's definitely more like he's just talking sometimes, and so that's something to think about. You want to make it effortless. You don't want to try to force it. If you feel tension when you're singing, you're not breathing right, or you're using too much of your throat to sing. And that's not good for a lot of different reasons. You're going to end up having to get like larynx surgery, or even that, it just sounds forced. It sounds like scratchy, and not a good way either. So, if you can pull it off, good for you. But most of the time, that's something that's kind of hurting your vocals. So, think about that. What else? Singing, as I was saying about mentioning kind of with the Gorillaz dude, and this is kind of a cool lead. Singing should be as easy as talking feels. All right. So, like I was just saying, if you're feeling any tension, or if you're feeling stressed, or you're like turning red, performing is one thing, but forcing the words is another thing. It just sounds like you're trying too hard. It doesn't sound good. 99% of the time. There's always exception to the rule, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is the definite. It's definitely not the definite, but this is a pattern I notice a lot. It sounds like people are trying too hard. So definitely try to just focus on singing relaxed like you're talking. Just like you're talking. So it's not forced. You're confident, you're composed. You got your breath under control. You're enunciating if need be. You're not enunciating if it's a style thing. It's all up to you, but focus on your breath. Right with breath control in mind. Take deep breaths. Use your diaphragm. Be confident in the breaths you take. And try to control your vibe using your breath. All right, so that's something to think about. And I will talk to you tomorrow because I am running out of time. Have a good one.